Welcome back to Kingston Now. We're talking with candidate for Ulster County District Attorney John Sennett, and we continue the conversation. John, so let's talk about public integrity. What are your issues with the current DA?
Well, we have seen in the past few years, under this administration, we've had the tail end of the jail debacle, which ended with no successful prosecution, and the DA refusing to appeal the judge, both dismissing the case and therefore sealing the grand jury's report.
Now we're talking about major cost overruns in the building of the Ulster County Jail, and thinking that there was something more to it than just people not getting it done on time.
Well, absolutely, and there was one charge that was levied, and the DA did issue summaries of reports, but in a very unusual instance, the grand jury issued a report. Normally, the grand jury will just file charges. In this instance, they filed a report that was sealed along with the charge being dismissed by the county court. Now, the DA could have appealed that, and he chose not to. So that's my first problem there in terms of public integrity. Is clearly the DA demonstrated a disinterest in having the public's back. We've had the Resource Recovery Agency mismanagement. Again, the comptroller suggests to the district attorney to engage in an investigation. He was very hesitant, and then ultimately passed it off to the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General is not the corporate parent of the district attorney's office. It's a separate law enforcement entity statewide. We've seen the Department of Health scandal, where again the comptroller lays an investigation at the DA's feet, the finding of over $30,000 in uncashed checks in the safe before the former head of the department was dismissed. The DA chose not to investigate it. But I think the most notable and the most disturbing is the case that has come out of the investigation into former Police Lieutenant Timothy Matthews. This is where mismanagement and a failure to keep an eye on taxpayer money has done the most damage. And it's revealed the most about what's wrong in the DA's office. Now, we're familiar with the allegations of double dipping in terms of pay from the Kingston Police Department and the Kingston School District that were, this is what started the investigation. Then it was discovered that the lieutenant allegedly stole $9,000 from an evidence safe. But then it is further discovered that in the course of conducting what we call confidential investigations, when they do a buy and bust, they want to try to arrest drug dealers, they buy drugs, and they do that with our money, taxpayer dollars. And it is there that we see, first of all, this district attorney signed vouchers himself for approximately $10,000 to Lieutenant Matthews. I have asked for the DA to recuse himself from the case. He feels that he doesn't need to do that, which I find unusual because he's avoided prosecution of public integrity matters so specifically and so consistently. All of a sudden he wants to remain in the case. Well, aside from the vouchers, we have this issue of the protocols, the rules for handling the money. When it came to the attention of the comptroller of this county, the comptroller indicated that he was going to cease approval of confidential investigative funds. Now, the Sheriff's Department was affected by this and the DA's office. The comptroller basically said, show me what your rules are and what your internal protections are for handling this money, because it's that money that Lieutenant Matthews is accused of stealing. Well, after determining that there were not sufficient protocols in place, the comptroller shut off the funds. Now, the Sheriff's Department, they issued written protocols almost right away, about a week and a half later. The district attorney did not. The district attorney refused to issue written protocols. Now, it's my understanding that it was not until late in September, approximately 6 months later, that the DA finally issued protocols. So what that means is that the comptroller's office has not been approving confidential investigative funds for 6 months to the DA's office. So first of all, that leads me to wonder, why is it that the DA's office avoided providing protocols that the Sheriff's Department was able to provide successfully, I might add, in less than 2 weeks? That's the first question that disturbs me immensely. But another problem that I have in this is, how have they been financing their confidential investigations? Now, it's my understanding that one of the ways that they've been doing this is what we would refer to as off-book accounts. Late in the summer, again, the comptroller issued a press release indicating that they had discovered what we would call these off-book accounts, accounts held by a government agency like the DA's office, that do not fall under the watch of the Commissioner of Finance. Now, essentially, they're operating these secret bank accounts. I don't know where that money came from. We, the people, I think, have a right to know, and we still don't know. Wherever that money has come from, wherever it has been going, it has not yet been revealed to the comptroller, as I understand it. Furthermore, initially when they discovered the money, they were deposited in illegal accounts. They were not in municipal depository banks. In other words, you have to be a specifically approved type of deposit institution to be able to hold government money. These are our taxpayer dollars, and they are not being watched by this district attorney.
John Sennett, the election is just a couple weeks away. We wish you good luck. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks very much, Jimmy.
This is Kingston Now, and next up we'll hear from the man John Sennett hopes to unseat, current Ulster County District Attorney Holly Carnwright. Stay with us.